I find meaning and purpose in my life to be constantly striving to improve and better myself every single day, whether that be physically, mentally, uh, intellectually, picking up a new skill. It's something that keeps me going and keeps me driving. And, you know, everybody has motivation problems, including myself, right? So there's ups and downs to it, but I do find that whenever I am actively pursuing a goal, I get a lot more fulfillment in my day to day life. And it really does make me happy. Ways I kind of measure success like anybody else, um, is just achieving that goal. Um, Going out there and setting your mind to something and getting it done. So along the way, I try to be a good person and help other people and make an impact on other people. And that also contributes to my sense of meaning as well. So that's it. Just, live a life and try to have fun along the way. Ain't much to it.
Through this project, I learned that everybody's purpose and meaning in life is very different and it's very individualistic. You kind of have to look in on yourself and find your own meaning. For me, a big thing is my family. I've had my oldest two cats since I was 16, and they've traveled with me everywhere. We've moved to multiple different states, and I promised them that I would one day give them a permanent and stable home. And my fiance and I were actually able to buy a condo recently and give them that goal. So for me, it's those little things of achieving things for my family is my meaning and my purpose. One other thing is, I really care a lot about being the voice for those things that can't speak. I have my plants that I have, and I love taking care of them, watching them grow every single day. It brings a lot of meaning to my own life. And with that too, I want to be the voice for those that can't speak. And a big thing is the ocean. I care deeply about all of the animals and plants within the ocean, and I want to be the voice for them. And so I have actually been a scuba diver since I was 12 years old. So I've got my pack of scuba gear that I have in the house with all my other stuff downstairs. I've known since I was 12 when I was scuba diving back then that I loved the ocean and that I found so much purpose in being in the water, watching things, and knowing that I want to make things better one day. And I really want to help improve the oceans one day. So that is part of why I am in school for marine science, is because that is my purpose that I found for myself. Throughout this project, I learned that as a group, it was really important to work as a group for this type of project. There was a big question that had to be answered, and you had to look at multiple different disciplines to find an answer. And so you really had to work as a group. So this project allowed us to come together, work effectively, learn to communicate effectively, and answer a really difficult question that's still just a really hard one to answer. Thank you.
Hello, Howdy. Um, to start, so far, our topic being the meaning of life, we've all came to a general consensus based off the research provided that life is really what you make it. And it's a personal interpretation of what's going on with the life you're living. There's not a simple life is, the meaning of life is X and Y. And with that, it dabbles into how meaning can be interpreted based on different circumstances. For instance, you may have different interpretations due to your cultural background or where you live in or how your societal status is. And needless to say, even with that, it's still up to you personally what that means. And with that, it kind of reminds me of how we can reflect on that. And the way that we can reflect on these certain things is through, I would say, art. I think art is a very big way that we reflect and express our interpretations of life. And just to give an example, Picasso's Guernica, where it was a reflection of the Spanish Civil War, and Spain was undergoing a time where fascism was a very prevalent political ideology affecting the lives of people in Spain. And speaking of certain political stimuli, Sealed Off is sort of a story that is based on that, because based with that, not on that, because in that story, it is around World War II with, political ideologies, and the characters are reflecting on their lives as far as how they've been, living, and they realize that they're not living their lives authentically as they could be, doing things that they want to do for themselves. And with that, for me specifically, I think my meaning of life would be to live as authentically as I can and live my own truth. And that truth is something I'm still trying to figure out, especially as a college student. Living in what I so-called call my life right now, the goal is to just feel everything, feel new experiences, while also getting opportunities to get a good job. That's, for me, is kind of the 2 and 2 idea that I have for what's going on in my life. Get a good job, get good money, live, da-da-da. But I want to be as authentic as I can be. That's pretty much what I have. My reflection for this is that this entire process has been pretty well. Now, I wish I could have done more in regards to preparation for all of this. I wish I had more time as well, because I got work, I got home, dealt with some family losses, and just stuff with that has been very, very difficult to come by. But once again, that's a very authentic part of life. It's very, and with that, it adds meaning to the things I'm able to do because of the hardships that are provided, whether that's through societal molds, just things happening, and even myself. Sometimes I could be my biggest impediment. And with that, once again, in my reflection, I would say that this process has been pretty fun. It made me think a lot about what the meaning is to me, per se. And still, I can't find a direct answer, because there is no direct answer. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have.
this is just gonna serve as my little reflection for this project. Um, Mainly, overall, for the research question, I learned that life is really just what you make it. It really helped me to realize, excuse you, it really helped me to realize that I have a lot more going for me in life than, I originally thought I did. And it just taught me to appreciate the littler things in life. But from an academic standpoint, it really taught me to have better communication with my teammates. I had to actively put that step forward. I had to kind of do a little bit of back and forth, so an active listening, active dialogue. We really did a lot of delegating as well, which was very useful. And then as for the actual research portion, I learned to analyze some more research papers rather than blogs or regular websites and posts. And I also learned how to compile my information in a way that would also be really great towards my audience. And yeah, thank you.
So, my question was, does religion give people meaning in their lives? And through my research, I found that studies show when people practice some sort of religion, their lives tend to be more meaningful, and also it helps with people's mental health. But what us as a group found is that everybody kind of chooses what that meaning is. So if someone chose for religion to be their meaning, that would be their meaning. But if someone chose something else to be their meaning in life, then that's what helps them. And so now I'm going to share about what I think is meaningful in my life. The first big thing that gives me meaning is music. When I was in middle school, I learned trombone and I started listening to a lot of jazz. And then eventually in high school, I taught myself guitar and bass, and then I started listening to a lot more metal and hardcore music. And I really love music because it gives me a feeling that nothing else really does, whether it's an emotional song or a heavy breakdown. It can instantly change my mood and make me feel excited or happy. But a really interesting thing that music gave me was friends. And as soon as I started playing in bands, I met some of my best friends ever. And what's funny is before music, a lot of us weren't really friends. We were all in different friend groups in school, but playing music together brought us really close, and now we're best friends, and I still am in contact with a lot of my friends back home. One of my favorite memories of us together was our last live show. The venue was super packed and people were moshing, and it was just an awesome moment to experience. Another thing that's really meaningful in my life is my family. I'm really close with my parents, and my brother is one of the funniest people I know. He never fails to put a smile on my face, even when I'm super mad at him. Another thing that's important in my life is my cat, Meatball. He's technically not my cat, he's my grandparents' cat, but I've watched him grow up, and he honestly feels like mine. I play with him a lot when I'm at their place, and I just love that dude. I also love bodyboarding, surfing, and snowboarding. I feel like being in the ocean, especially with bodyboarding, it gives me a feeling that's hard to explain. one of my favorite memories was going out to my favorite surfing spot on a really big day with my brother, and it was honestly really scary, but I ended up catching one of the best waves of my life. So at the end of the day, I think everybody has different things that give them meaning in life, whether it be religion or other things. But for me, it's music, my friends and family, and the moments that I get to share with them. Thank you.